Where are the people that give it? She not gonna do that. Let her cook. I want to know what y'all saying now.
Observing the Caitlin Clark Europe rumors, ESPN is going through a crisis of its own. Caitlin may be departing for Europe, and it seems like ESPN is starting to regret how they treated Clark during the season. ESPN was the venue for Caitlin Clark's undervaluation and lack of appreciation. They never showed her any respect, and now they feel they have the authority to determine whether or not she goes to Europe.
Okay, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their intention, and they're not as talented. We're not putting the best team out.
ESPN effectively refused Caitlin credit during the whole year, with analyst Molly Karam accusing her of mocking the sport. How could she say that without giggling? Caitlin Clark revolutionized the sport and promoted dialogue.
The league versus Caitlin Clark, and that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
The season's most fouled athlete, Caitlin Clark, even suffered a black eye at one point. Another expert denied that she was being targeted by players. Hopefully, Caitlin will be able to use her vacation time to research European options that will devastate the WNBA and ESPN and leave them with nothing to talk about.
We're making a basketball argument.
We're not saying No, Andrea, I'm not going to let you do that.
Go ahead,
Andrea, I'm not going to let you make it seem like Caitlin Clark was averaging 5 points a game. At the time, she was still averaging 16 points a game, which was more than a lot of other guards that made the team. So don't do that. Don't make it seem like she was averaging 5 points and this was like a handout.
It seems that ESPN and its analysts can't take the pressure that Caitlin brings, especially in light of the reports that she may move to Europe instead of continuing her WNBA career. Throughout the season, Caitlin has been disparaged and undermined by ESPN, which often minimizes her achievements while elevating others. It is not surprising that they are in a panic, knowing full well that losing Caitlin would be a devastating blow to their viewership and content, as they now face the very real possibility that the player they have consistently ignored may leave the American spotlight and take her talents abroad.
Her value is felt every place she goes, every arena she goes. TV, ratings, value.
ESPN has been disparaging Caitlin's skills for months and regularly contrasting her with Angel Ree, another up-and-coming female basketball standout. ESPN pushed the notion from the start of the season that Caitlin Clark, in spite of her evident star power, was somehow not living up to the high standards set for her after her historic collegiate career at Iowa. By questioning Caitlin's status as one of the league's top players and suggesting that her style of play was mocking the women's game, ESPN analysts Molly and Monica McNutt fanned the flames.
The response of folks that don't think she is praised enough and she is above reproach in terms of criticism, or that praising another player is an affront to her, is like, whoa, bro. Also, you're not mentioned talking about women's basketball. I've never ever seen you before in my life.
This is where the karma comes in. ESPN is now afraid that if Caitlin Clark moves to Europe, they won't be able to talk about her anymore. The harsh criticisms seem deliberate, almost as if the network had planned to ruin Caitlin's success by consistently placing her in the background of her peers rather than recognizing her contributions to the game. That's correct. The fact that ESPN failed to see Caitlin's power early on might pay them dearly for months, as the athlete they criticized throughout the season for not being a true star may pack her bags and leave, taking her massive fan base with her. ESPN presented Caitlin as only valued due to her capacity to draw in viewers, asserting that her fame was a product of media hype rather than a genuine star on the court. Now that her departure is a genuine possibility, they are acting quickly to alter that story.
And you guys were right. That's what we're saying. You
no,
were right.
Molly, you did not say that, Molly. No,
saying
no,
it.
That is what you said.
You did not. That is not what you said, Molly.
What are you guys
That is not what you.
The only voices that continuously defended Caitlin Clark throughout the season were Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp, reminding viewers of her indisputable skill on the court. Because Caitlin was a rookie and garnered so much attention during her time in college, Smith and Sharp agreed that she was unfairly singled out by both ESPN and WNBA players. They said that she had already established herself as one of the game's top performers and that the attention she received was excessive. Despite their backing, other ESPN experts, including Monica McNutt and Molly Karam, blasted Caitlin. Because PN analysts and WNBA players viewed Caitlin as the league's newest, most prominent rookie who needed to be humbled and put in her proper place, they relentlessly ridiculed her. Caitlin was inundated with both favorable and negative attention, but she overcame it all and disproved her doubters by having one of the most remarkable rookie seasons in WNBA history. She helped turn around the Indiana Fever's fortunes and cemented her status as one of the game's most promising young stars, demonstrating her tenacity and skill.
We would love for the WNBA to make voting not anonymous. Because if you were the person that had that one vote, you should just be able to stand on it, and we should know who you are. In the NBA, voting is not anonymous. Yeah. So I would love for the WNBA to make the voting so we see who put the votes where. That's all.
In charge of the Indiana Fever, earning their first postseason berth in what felt like a lifetime was no small accomplishment for a team that had finished years in the bottom of the WNBA. In addition to surviving her first season, Caitlin Clark thrived by performing in concerts that silenced even her harshest critics. Despite the constant pressure to perform, she had incredibly impressive poise and court skills. By showcasing her leadership and unmatched talent, she transformed a squad that many had written off.
Indiana Fever have 2 All-Stars in their starting lineup. They also have the reigning Rookie of the Year. Chicago has none of that. So the lift for Angel Reese has been much.
Nevertheless, ESPN believed that they still needed to alter their storyline in spite of these achievements. They minimized Caitlin's impact for the most of the season, and they only began to acknowledge her genius at the very end, when her domination could no longer be disregarded, almost as if they had stood with her the whole time. The speed at which ESPN shifted their attention to lauding Caitlin as the star after spending most of the season denigrating her was almost laughable.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5.6 turnovers.
Hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominant.
But here's the thing. Since Caitlin had already proven everyone wrong during a season when she was anticipated to fail and was regularly singled out by players and pundits who claimed she wasn't ready for the spotlight, she didn't need ESPN's approval. With all of the pressure, stress, and targeting Caitlin Clark has experienced from the league and ESPN, it would almost seem reasonable for her to consider relocating to Europe. ESPN and the WBA would receive a clear message from this, telling them what they would be missing if they kept undervaluing one of their top players. Despite the clamor, Caitlin Clark delivered in a way that nobody anticipated. She emerged as her rookie class's standout performer.
Stop being petty. Stop being catty, because she like a double-edged sword. She couldn't tell left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite a jersey with your autograph on it. And
Only in the event that Caitlin Clark chooses to take her talents overseas would ESPN and the WNBA be held responsible. They had every opportunity to elevate one of the league's top young players, but instead they chose to disparage her, diminish her impact on the league, and dismiss her accomplishments. Recall that celebrities like Caitlin bring with them a loyal, passionate fan base that follows them everywhere they go. Her explosive play and undeniable charisma were major contributors to the WNBA's recent surge in viewership, and the league's ratings would surely suffer greatly without her. The WNBA may struggle to maintain the momentum it has worked so hard to build if she decides to depart, because her supporters will follow her to Europe.
Draft day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%. Between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%. Between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%. What Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5.
Caitlin's departure would also have a significant effect on ESPN, as the network feeds on creating narratives around well-known athletes, and Caitlin Clark has been one of their most talked about players this season. Although they may have occasionally made fun of her achievements and ridiculed her, there's no denying that Caitlin was a topic of conversation on almost every sports program.
Talk about the most watched WNBA finals game ever. You know why? Because I've been telling you about the Caitlin Clark impact. It's nice to see something other than Caitlin Clark having a profound influence on.
Whether they were criticizing her or nervously cheering her on, Caitlin dominated a large portion of ESPN's coverage of women's basketball. Her on-field and off-field court performances were regularly scrutinized and criticized. What will they talk about if she leaves for Europe? The WNBA ESPN programming will be noticeably lacking without her. Caitlin's departure would drastically disrupt the tales and conversations they have come to rely on, leaving SC rushing to fill the void she would undoubtedly leave behind. The WNBA needs to treat its least star better to prevent losing a player who may have represented the league for many years to come. Caitlin Clark will still be a superstar if she decides to move to Europe, but the WNBA and ESPN will have to put in a lot of effort to cover the huge void she leaves. Caitlin Clark is more than just another talented rookie. She is a trailblazing individual who can elevate the league as a whole. Caitlin Clark represents a new age in women's basketball, when athletes have more influence over their careers and are less reliant on the league or the media to determine their legacy. This modification gives athletes the ability to make decisions based on their own objectives rather than those of outside parties. Caitlin's achievements speak for themselves, despite ESPN's attempts to disparage her over the season. She has consistently demonstrated that she is more than capable of taking criticism and putting herself above the uproar.